Alright everyone, Supreme Kami over here, and today we are going to be taking a look at the double quanta full saber over here. So this is going to be a big scale obviously, so it's a big scale, in terms of this caliber. How good is this one over here? So because in terms of this one specifically compared to the strike freedom over here, this one is going to be for melee, so it's going to be completely different. So I would have to say in terms of the value of summoning, let's say if you guys have not summoned, I'm not gonna say this is the best banner to summon just because of the fact that in terms of summoning for this banner, like look at how many parts we're looking at. We got 10 parts, looking at a 10-part roster, this is not good. If you're trying to say, oh, let me try to see if I can get the arm specifically right, it's just gonna be very awful in terms of like per part, rate over here. So that's why if you guys can, I would definitely say wait until they drop like a mega good banner where you can just potentially just pick it up for example. So yeah, I would not even suggest for it. So this is gonna be big skill for melee. So in terms of big skill for melee, specifically, the only one I can think of right now is actually going to be the attack attribute enhanced double Zeta. I think that is pretty much it. You can say, let's say, the big scale P attribute Zeta Gundam, but I would say Zeta is more on like a dual type esque. It's boosting both shot and melees. It's quite equal, but I will not call that one legitimately like a melee type unit. So, but without any further ado, let's kind of hop in and see what we're looking at. So just comparing this one stat by stat per just compared to strike freedom, I will have to say this one is probably worse. As you guys go down the line to like torso, arms, leg wise, this stat just kind of drop a little bit here and there. So that's why I'm like, if they're gonna release a recycled it, rehashing it, I would expect it to be a little bit better, but this one is definitely not going to be it. And besides, in terms of melee unit, me personally, I don't really see a place for melee unit specifically, like, oh, you have to have like the top tier, for example, just because like in terms of competitive scene, let's say both arena 1v1 or 3v3, I feel like shooting base is definitely the way to go. Like in a sense, right now, everyone is able to get that AoE attacker, the actual drop. So I don't see a point to even running melee for those specific scene. So me, when I run melee, is purely to trying to take down those multi-mission bosses. But other than that, I'm using my shooting build. So without any further ado, let me do hopping now. So in terms of the head stat wise over here, you guys can definitely see that the armor is actually quite good. But what I don't like already from the full saber is like, look at those shot defense. This is supposedly like a melee unit, but what are we doing here? Like, why do we have a higher shot defense than melee defense on a melee build? So I really don't know. There's not really like a direct answer to that. Just like, but in terms of comparing this to, let's say, the Barbados, those aspects of it, like the one from the Iron Blood Orphans, they have their own specific reason why they have a higher shot defense, but this one does not. I don't get it. Like the original, like just the base form QanT doesn't have like a high shot defense, so this is kind of no. So if you guys are able to pull the head part, I'm just gonna say in terms of the alteration for this one, I will have to say this one is gonna be on a low end tier, just because I don't feel like this one is that best of the part. But stat wise, let's tell you it's pretty good, 8,800, so that's obviously pretty high on the list. But this one, we have a recovery tool. This one should be gamma, so this one is specifically going to be boosting your allies' health recovery. So I mean, we have so many better options out there already in terms of standard or even welfare, so I don't see this one being like a prominent choice out of the bunch. This one, if you do have the PIG reverse bit, you can definitely access this war tag. I don't know if the original one, like the older version, has pro tag on this one, but this one having force base right now at the moment is probably not going to be the best tick. So if you guys do have something of of these caliber, like this one specifically, just look at this one right now. This one is actually not bad. So if you guys do have something like these, what is like the other dominant one that we have? We actually don't. That's the thing. We really don't have like a pure 40%. Oh, this one is not bad, right? Yeah, this one, Horus is actually not bad as well. Double 40% trade, all power boosting with power mobility. So this one, yeah, this one can definitely be a good candidate as well. This one is a big skill, but I'm not gonna say big skill is like the most absolute. So this one, if you guys do pull it, not gonna be the top priority. Alright, moving on to the torso. I think the torso is a very good candidate of something to alterate. Because why? Look at the first portrait. So this one is going to be very similar counter to the strike freedom. While I believe strike freedom, one of the part has a squad boosting. This one has a squad boosting to melee. So this one prior to alteration is really fantastic. Throw this onto your supporting build, and then all your ally is going to be able to gain that 35% at max, and then we should be looking at 20% on base. So this one is going to be able to work on yourself. Let's say you're hopping into like a solo match, for example. This should be able to apply to yourself as well, if I recall. So it's not bad. Secondary portrait is going to be a enemy melee cut right there. So this one, I'm just gonna say in short, this is just like a new way of them to play it as like a power boosting, because not only this one is gonna do a power boosting, this one would be able to subtract, let me not use subtract, this one is going to be able to take away your opponent's ability to reduce your melee attacks. So because there's going to be those trait that says along the line enemy melee power reduced, for example. So if your opponent has one of those traits, this one is going to cut that. So let's say your opponent has a max out of 30% melee reduced to your opponent, for example, you're taking that off, and then they're not even doing any to you because you have 40%. So so that's basically how it works. So if your opponent does not have any of those, you're purely going to be getting that 40% boosting right there. So that is pretty much how it works. So this one is not bad overall for the alteration as well. So this one I will have to say is a very good one to alterate if you guys do happen to pull it. This one is a very good supporting role and is able to do some pretty good damage, you know, just having the 40% right there. So not bad. Alright, moving on to the arm. I feel like the arm is definitely one of the better ones to be looking at. Probably something you guys should be alterating if you guys do get your hands onto this one. Pretty good armor on base right there. So both of them, like top two is getting that 5 digits. So that looks pretty good actually. 16,000, pretty good, huh? But look at that melee defense. What are we doing? Melee defense is not even breaking down 4K. That is extremely sad in my opinion. So I don't know why that melee or that shot defense is that high again, but nonetheless, this is going to be your so-called 40% trait right there. In terms of the condition, I don't see the condition is that bad in a way. So it does want you to be holding a blade category equipped to your melee slot, so that's not the biggest deal. If you guys can get away from this one over here, like let's say you're not using any specific melee EX skill that is revolving the melee weapon slot, you guys should be good. So this one again, this one is going to be more or less like a power boosting nonetheless, so you guys should not have to worry about whether or not this one is a double 40% or not. So this one is actually pretty good. So yeah, if you guys do have it, this one is definitely a very good one to be alterating, so not bad. This one currently it is very high on the list. Like in terms of something that I would say rival this one is definitely going to be the Horrid armor there. The buff EX skill effects is always going to be very great. Something that I generally love the most in terms of portrait. The next up in the line is definitely going to be one of the predecessor, the double XM riser. This one is going to be a double 40% trait. So if you guys have something of this caliber already, like this one specifically or something, I think this one is pretty much shit. This one I'm not gonna tell you guys like, oh, go reinvest to a different one just because this one has a higher baseline, big scale whatsoever. I think you guys should be pretty much fine with these already. Just because, like I said again, melee in terms of nowadays is not really like in the competitive scene, for example. Just basically any content nowadays should be able to be clear in, let's say, a upper threshold of 10,000. I think you guys should be fine. Anything beyond that is just too much, you know. So yeah, if you guys do have these already, I will not say. So basically, if you guys cannot pull the arm, don't worry about it because we have so many better options or like some other good options already. So, but if you guys are able to pull it, this one is definitely gonna be the top picker. You know, use L badge on this one. Definitely alterate this one. Good word tag as well. Close combat and high mobility. And then if you guys were, you know, let's say hypothetically, if you guys are able to pull a second copy of the arm, do not, I repeat, do not alterate both arm. Here's what you can do. So alterate one arm and then sub-swap the other one as 7-star. You know, let's say you have both of them as 7-star, you will be able to gain a 50.5% right off the bat because supposedly they treat it as the different name, same type parts, or same name, same type parts. So, but one of them is coded differently, I guess, in terms of like the part ID. So you guys will be able to cheese that in, and then you guys should be getting a massive boost there. So that is definitely something you guys can be doing if you guys were able to pull 2 copies of the arm. So moving on to the leg. Is the leg something you need to alter on the spot? I would say no. Reason being, in terms of the secondary portrait, so just look at the second portrait, is not even that good. Like what is this? So when buff this squad recovery 900 armor gradually, so 900 seems pretty good, but if you get hit by like an EX skill, do you guys think 900 is going to cover you? I don't really think so. So no, this one is definitely not going to be, in terms of like priority wise, this one is pretty much the same as the head part. It's just not really the top tier right there. So even in terms of the first portrait, it is going to be one of those EXQ cooldown reduced by an X amount of percentage right there. We have seen so many of those iterations already, so I mean, like, if you guys do have something invested in already, so this one is not going to be it. So in terms of overall stat, it's not going to be too high up the list. So that is definitely going to be another consideration right there. Although this one is a big scale, so you might argue that this may be something good to kind of alter and all that. But I'm just looking at a secondary portrait, and it's not really that worth it at the moment. Let's say if you guys are limited in terms of L badges, so you guys can definitely pick something else over this one. So alright, moving on to the backpack. So the backpack is pretty much going to be a copy and paste in terms of animation wise over here. I believe in terms of the effects, it's pretty much the same as well. So the only thing they have made a change is definitely bumping this one to an SS minus power, which is kind of like a given because they can't really do much about this, right? So in terms of style wise, it's pretty good. It's holding up pretty good at the moment. Big skill wise over here, definitely gonna carry it by a long shot. For sure about that. In terms of the stat line now, I kind of see that in terms of the melee defense is like kind of where I would expect. So it's not battle wrong. Raw melee attack is pretty high as well. This one does have some premium good war attack as well. So if you guys do want to alter this one, for example, kind of do keep that in mind. In terms of this one specifically, it is going to turn into a big scale. So if you're talking about trying to kind of like, let's say you have a 1-to-1 for build, and you equip this one, it's going to look really weird in a way. It's just going to be oversized. So definitely trying to consider, just kind of think about it before altering. I'm not saying don't alter it. Just be mindful that if you do alter it, you just cannot revert it back to this original state to a 1-to-1 for the first scale. So definitely consider before alteration. But other than that, if you're purely trying to use it for a stat, definitely go for it because good war tag as well. Pro tag close combat, definitely a welcomed addition to anyone that's a melee build for sure. So I will have to say this one is definitely in terms of like what is the priority. This one I will have to say is definitely that second tier. First tier, I gotta say it's gotta be the arm, maybe torso, and then backpack is like I said, secondary kind of option, just because EX skill, you gotta hit hard, right? SS minus power is gonna hit very hard. So for head part and the leg part are definitely like third tier. Like nope, not gonna think about those. Alright, so moving on to the, you can say the weaponries over here. So in terms of what I don't like that they're doing for this one, and Strike Freedom, is they're adding 2 brand new weaponry that we have not seen from the older version. So in terms of the attribute links, they're not getting it just because of the fact that the original version did not have it to begin with. So I don't know what they're thinking about. It's cool that they're diversifying it, but are you guys gonna like eventually add it into the older version? Because like we can't get those link attribute. We have to wait for a 3rd attribute. So yeah, that's kind of like an bad move in their part. I don't really know what they're thinking, but in terms of melee weapon, we do have 3 iterations of it. So in terms of the stat wise, 2 of them are going to be the same, and then 1 of them is going to be slightly higher than the rest of it. So let's kind of go over to the Saber category one. So this one is going to be the GN Sword 4 Saber mode over here. So in terms of the stat line over here, so they are actually going to be further boosting shot defense again. I don't know what's the reason for that. So if you guys do know why, in terms of the XN, or not the XN, the full Saber QanT, why it has a enormous amount of high shot defense, for example, whether or not it's from the from the double V battlefield, whatever they call it, or from like mangas or different sources, whatever. Do let me know if you guys do know why that is the case. This one is a very powerful one. In terms of portraits over here, so for anyone out there that is building a reduction trait build, This one is good. This one is going to be offering an all power reduced by 30%. That is good. That is really good. So, and not only that, they're also going to be pumping out another shooting power reducer there. So anyone out there looking for a good, singular part that is able to do both of two things, this is good. So if you guys are those types of person, this is definitely going to be for you to alterate. If you guys are not, this is going to be one of those parts that you will just kind of put on the side and never touch it again, because this one is simply for a fun tank build, so not going to be for everyone obviously. So this one I'm not going to rate alterate it or not alterate it, because this one is simply going to be heavily depending on what you guys are looking at. So in terms of prioritizing your L badges, this one is going to be at your own kind of a choice right there, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. So this is a very good portrait overall. Definitely, I'm kind of glad I pulled that one, because I will definitely eventually, hopefully, once I do get the resources and all that, definitely we're gonna pump that in to make it level 10, hopefully. All right, so up next we do have the GN Sword 4. This one should be the full Saber version of it. So this one is this one got the higher stat and tier, so this one is pumping up 17.5k shot or melee attack, so that is pretty high. But this one unfortunately is going to be packing itself with the GN Sword 5 or 4-fold Saber over here. So this one is actually very similar to some of the other ones that we have seen already, like the Transcend Riser from the GN Sword 3. That should be the Extend Riser and the Double Riser. And the other one, we have the one from the 007 sword version of it. So this one is going to be the more powerful version of it, because this one is pumping out an S power, and then at max or base level 1 we are looking at a S minus power already. So this one is going to be a very powerful attacker there. So if you guys are looking for a very powerful, like a short cooldown right there, this could be another take for you guys as well. Not only that, this one is coming in with a 29% melee attack up as well, so this one is very good, so not bad. If I were you guys, I would even alterate this one, just because this one is going to be, this one will hit hard for sure. So I believe without alteration, we are only looking at an A minus power. Yeah, definitely, I would definitely give it a thumbs up for alterating this one. So yeah, not bad. I believe this one, if you guys do pair it up with the PIGB version of it, I think it's not a bad combo. Just because in terms of the PIGB version, it does have a pretty good, it has a pretty good set of portrait already. I believe it has a initial charge boosting by 20% and then an EX skill power boosting. But they are going to be at that 20% initial charge boosting and then 30% EX skill power boosting. So it may not be the best case scenario if you guys are looking at something of a 25% to a 40% split already, because those are pretty much going to be very common nowadays, I would have to say. But if you guys are still looking at some of the older ones, like if you guys are still using it and you guys happen to pull this one, I would say subslot it, use this one as a main slot and subslot that one to the back, and it should be a very powerful one indeed. So not bad. Alright, so moving on to the GN Gunblade over here. So this one is going to be the Twin Edge over here. So this is going to be the newer edition. So this one is, I'm not even going to look at this one like that, just because this one is a 30 to a 35% split ritter. So we have something, do we have anything that is better? Actually, we do, right? But this one is not, well, not this one specifically. Like the cold sword, this one is good. Maybe even like the heat and less tempest, those are going to be better. So if you guys are able to pull the GN, was it the gunplay over here, I'm not even going to alter this one, just because there's no point. Because we do have already better options out there already. But this one is going to be big scale, so it may be a little bit of a different take. But the other caveat, this one is going to be a, this one is going to be a twin blade. So in terms of subslot for twin blade, it's just not going to be all that well. So that's why, nope, not even going to think about that. Alright, moving on to the twin or the GN Gunblade as the rifle mode or the gun mode. So this one is simply going to be another 35%, 30 to a 35% boosting there. So this one is going to be an enemy cut right there again. So we have a lot actually. Like they've been pumping out a lot on both these suits over here. So I don't even know what's going on. So it's not bad in terms of the condition. But like I said again, we do have better options out there already. This one being a twin rifle is just gonna make it hard in terms of for subslot wise over here, so that's why I'm not even gonna be recommend this one. In terms of the alteration like level, like the priority, this one is gonna be on the 3rd tier as well. Alright, moving on to the long rifle. Like this one is a very bad implementation as well, Because we do have this one as the P attribute, but that one is a rifle mode, but this one is a long rifle. I'm like, why? What's the point of doing that? But I believe this one is a GL launcher mode, so it's different from the other one. But regardless, this one is just not good. So yeah, this was just gonna be an EX right there, so I don't see too much of a good purpose of even alterating it, unless you guys do want to use the GN launcher over here for the EX base over here. But other than that, I don't see too much of a point on alterating it. First of all, this one is gonna be a long rifle, so in terms of your sub slot, it's gonna be very limited, just because most of the carbon one is falling into the rifle category, so this one probably not going to be the best case scenario. So in terms of alteration for this one, in terms of the priority, this one is going to be on that third tier as well. But with that being said, that is going to be pretty much it in terms of the S attribute double quantified Saber. You guys can definitely let me know which one the part you guys were able to summon for specifically, or if you guys are not, like, just let me know if you guys are gonna summon all. So with that being said, that is going to be pretty much it, and I'll catch you guys all on the next one.